David, how are you feeling?
Good, much better.
So, did you ponder on the question that you asked last week?
What was the question?
That when you went for the
Oh, right.
procedure, you where were you, right? Was that the question, right?
Yeah, what happened to my consciousness during that 3 hour blackout period?
Right, right, right. So, is there any updates on it?
Ah, oh, no, not really.
So, in one of the talks, Tawariaji, the person who teaches that refining three-step rhythmic, he emphasized, there was some lady who was asking question and she was using consciousness and awareness interchangeably. And he said, no, it is very different. What you're talking about is just awareness, which has different grades, of gradations of awareness. And consciousness is completely different. And he just said, what I understood is you can only talk about consciousness if I see you and there is a shadow on the wall behind you. That is consciousness. What we talk about is the different grades of awareness. So I think the question was what happened to the awareness,
Okay,
and as we discussed last week, we feel we do all these things, but I feel that there is the identification is very deep with the HBM.
absolutely.
Because sometimes when we talk to someone and we don't necessarily agree with them, but because they are friends or family or boss or colleague or what have you, we just in our mind we're like, oh, he's not, you know, that's not true. I don't agree with that, but whatever, that's fine. So we have an inner us that what the the pattern, the memory pattern that we believe is correct, and we are constantly putting that as a uh, like a standard against which other things, you know like do they, is it, I mean, we measure all these other what we feel is outside, we try to compare it with our memory patterns which we feel is correct. This is how it's supposed to be. We may not say it, it's just a thing that we always feel within ourselves. And that pattern is the one that needs to be worked on.
Well, it's good to hear you speak. This is the most I think I've ever heard you speak and express yourself. It's very nicely done. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can turn the camera on. It's just you won't see much. I know I'm sitting in the car. I'm working today. I just came to the parking lot to attend the meeting.
No,
Oh,
that's well,
wow.
I know, and we appreciate you taking the time out to do that.
Yeah, thank you.
And but it's always good to hear your voice and we're holding our attention and our consciousness I'm not 100% sure of that distinction yet, but you were holding it on these questions and they work within us. The sense
Yeah.
of wonder that they create opens us up into the great, to look at the vast unknown and the void a little bit more. And that's gaining power for our personal existence. So fantastic, you know. Kind of the shocking thing, and this is possibly what you're talking about, is that it's like I woke up and yet here I am again,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
I'm the same person. Now, I do accept the fact that a great deal of that commonality of personhood between before and after is because of my habitual relationship to this particular HBM. But am I not also asking the same question, what happens when I die?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there now, I don't know if anybody here has active sense of um, previous lives or the sense of reincarnating again, but there seems to be a shadow of a sense of personal self, life to life. And I guess that's partly what I was reaching for when I posed the question to myself and to all of us is there's a kernel of selfhood that exceeds just the everyday existence of me as an accountant, as a doctor, as a whatever particular, as a student, architect. You know, there's something, there's a thread of what I call eternality.
Yeah.
Mm. And when I came back to awareness, then that same sense of confidence in that eternality was there.
Yeah.
I, I didn't awaken as a different person, which would have been curious.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's the sad part.
It's sad in a way, but it's also enlightening in that it's like we're given this gracious time to work on ourselves. We were given these particular bodies in this particular moment in time in order to, for me, to properly praise the absolute. You know, if I can push something aside or be less dependent on the mechanicality, it's almost inevitable that what I look toward is the higher. It always works that way.
Mm.
When the pain of ego drops away, I find kind of like I find myself yearning for the commonality of the higher, and I see that divine in each one of us here. I'm like blown away by it, by everybody that's happens to be here at this particular moment.
Yeah.
No,
It, I
Did,
think you can.
I'm sorry. Is
No,
it
no, Benny. Go.
is it a coincidence, control, that we are for the last weeks uh, maneuvering and not entering the last hour of life?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Bernie.
Yes, because the we talk about somehow about it, life, death, and we have this chapter waiting for us, but it's I don't mean it to see it negatively. I see it as a strange coincidence.
Yes.
The last hour of life. That's it.
Yeah, but I take it a bit further. I mean, that's exactly the right platform, Bernie. But I also realize that I happen to be in this coincident with you
Right. What do you mean?
and with Nikhil and with Nishant and Swati and Rajesh and Michelle's there somewhere and Alka in her morning is with us. So the what I call the eddies, the flow, I don't know what the right word is in Spanish, but like the movement of water, the eddies of water, and I call it the eddies of karma, brought us here tonight at this moment to be together. There's something stunningly remarkable about that to me.
Well, I agree with you because for an hour something like magical happens that I don't know, we are not meditating, but the attention given to this space is very powerful, and you can see the difference. But when the space finishes in an hour, you enter another world. This is in that writer, well-known writer, I think it's Koestler. It says the sacred space. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a sacred place, but not from religion. It's a space when somehow we put in suspension our usual critical mood and this guy I don't like it. I don't want to. No, it's for an hour we are in a cloud somehow.
Yeah.
No, a cloud, and it's um that's the I think it's why. Moreover, my interest in discipline and all, I come here. It's not a sacrifice, even it's very late here.
It's a
I want to,
ritual.
yes, yes.
It's a holy ritual.
I have to be here for myself and for the guys. You know.
And because of the quality of the beings around us right now, Bernie, it's like I must bring my good game.
Yes, yes, that's the word. Yes.
I bring the highest
Mm.
because I'm meeting my friends in the highest.
With that said, should we jump in to the last chapter?
Yes.
Your call, whatever you want to do is up to you. Okay,
I think let's do it.
let's do it. Oh.
Oh, am I sharing the right screen?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can see chat. Okay. Bernie, do you want to go ahead and get us
Yes,
started?
yes, thank you, Nikhil. Chapter 24, Last Hour of Life. To know how to settle accounts every hour is something every man should have learned in school, just as to learn to breathe, to eat, to move, and to awaken the machine should be part of any genuine curriculum of education. How would you like to discover just how precious life really is, but only in your last moment, just as the machine is taking its last few breaths? What would you learn about life? What would you appreciate suddenly that you have had never really appreciated, maybe never even noticed before this moment? And I pass.
Above
Above
everything else would be breath. Perhaps for the first time, you would notice that every in breath was accompanied by smells. And what exquisite, ex, I'm sorry,
Exquisite.
exquisite
Exquisite.
smells. Suddenly, you cling to the experience of every aroma. You notice that each scent is a combination of many different tones, and you may even be able, for the first time in your life, and also the last, to be able to separate and identify many of the individual tones and overtones which combine to produce what we call an olfactory code, PES.
Next, you may come to notice the physical sensations of the machine. And even though many of them may be painful, some will suggest by association all those wonderful experiences of the past which suddenly seem so precious. Every movement of the machine may be its last, and you may be struck by the beauty of the machine's sensations. Your attention following each movement and involuntary reflex of the body intensely, thirstily, as a lover follows even the smallest movements of the beloved. You may think to yourself, this is a fine time to begin this exercise. But now there is nothing you can do to make up for your past lack of will or enthusiasm before you became aware that the body was actually dying. Pass.
Why suddenly has life become so very precious? Why does your attention cling to every micro movement and every sight, smell, sound, and sensation? Why does your brain recount with nostalgia all the main events of the life of the machine? Why suddenly is everything you have failed to do in life important to you, even though there is nothing you can do about it now? Why is it that has really changed? You knew all along that someday the machine would die. Why was this knowledge not sufficient to provide you with the motivation to exert your will to awaken over the will of the machine to remain asleep?
Why was it not enough to make you appreciate life to this extent that just the mechanics of bodily survival and the passage of time which before this seemed to drag on interminably and now rushes by inexorably, can be easily followed in detail by your attention, as if you had just now suddenly discovered a treasure you had never known existed. Yet you had it all the time. Can you explain to yourself why, although you were told about this years ago, you failed to treat every breath, every movement, every sensation, every smell, every sight, every relationship, every activity as if it were the treasure it is now? At this moment, as you lie here dying, now suppose that you somehow learned that you had exactly 1 hour to live. What would you do with this last precious hour on earth? If you could use this last hour of life to complete all your business with the machine and with the organic world, would you understand how to do this? Would you be satisfied at your last breath that you had really done everything possible in life to complete your life to your own being satisfaction? Not only this, not only is this last hour the most important hour of your life at this moment, it sets the scene for the final final impressions received by the being through the machine. Can I pass?
How fragile organic life really is. At any moment, the machine is only a hair's breadth away from death. From the first moment of conception, we live on borrowed time. In order to really have the freedom to live, we must settle all our business before we die, even in the final hour of life, if necessary. But how do we know exactly which hour will be our last? To be absolutely safe, we should settle our accounts with nature and with the machine at the beginning of each hour. Then death can never catch us by surprise.
That's funny.
Uh, exactly how to settle accounts every hour is something every human being should have learned in grade school, along with breathing, eating, moving, invocation of presence, and the awakening of objective consciousness. One thing we can ask ourselves is who would be hurt by our death if we died in our present condition? Yes.
At the moment of death, we should have presence, a clear mind and conscience, taking our last breath with the innate satisfaction that we have done everything within our power to fully use our life. Day by day, if we should ever take the trouble to look, we will discover things which have been left undone and which are in need of repair. It is a mark of a real human being who has really lived that he has squeezed from life every possible drop of quality. We should strive to live our life so that one day we can say at any moment, today I can die without regret.
Sorry, where are we? Never waste.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never waste. Okay, thank you. Never waste what might very well be for you your last hour of life. No matter how long you live, this last hour will be for you the most important. If you do badly at your last hour, you will certainly feel the sensation of regret. This sensation, if you can allow yourself to feel it now, can be powerful, motivating force to prepare yourself for a clean passage out of the machine. If you knew for a fact that this hour were really your last, you would eat impressions as if they were gourmet food. A real connoisseur of life knows how to extract from every morsel of life the last drop of quality. Demand quality in everything. Do not live life as a savage. During the last hour of your life, you may not have a choice over where you are or with whom, but you definitely have a choice over the quality of the time because it is you and you alone who determine the state of the machine, whether it is alive or dead at any moment, including the last. I'll pass.
The extraction of the essential qualities from life utilizes the same technique as the extraction of higher substances from food, air, and impressions, which is to say, it is automatically accomplished by the awakening of the machine. If you wish real quality from life, your life must be given up to the work for the greater good. For just your personal self, you can have very little. Working toward transformation of your being, not for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the absolute, which is the same thing as saying for all beings everywhere, is an effective technique for evolution. If you are not satisfied with the quality of your last hour of life, you will not be satisfied with your life as a whole. To die is to move past something that will never come again in exactly the same way. All great philosophers practice for their last hour of life. I will give you the same exact exercise which they used to practice for their final hour on earth. Take care not to change even one word of this instruction. Look back at your last hour, which has just passed, as if it had been your final hour on earth, and you have just now realized that you have died. And I pass.
First, ask yourself if you are satisfied with how you have used this last precious hour of life. Now, return to the stream of organic life and set yourself the aim during the next hour, if you live that long, to extract just a little more quality from life than you had during the previous hour. Determined to awaken the machine just a little more, to have just a little more presence in the present, a little more inner fire. Now open your eyes a little wider. By this I mean awaken the machine and breathe in its transformational effects. Be a little more brave than you were for the past hour. You can afford to have courage now that you know It is your last hour, and you have nothing to lose. Of course, don't be foolishly so. Know yourself a little more. See your machine just a little more impartially. Now that you are dying, there is no point defending the machine's personal vanity, is there? Yes.
Every hour from now on until your real final hour, demand from the machine, by its awakening, more quality of life, more life in the intuitive. Take a moment or two every hour on the hour to appreciate the previous hour impartially. Then set yourself the aim to use the hour yet to come even more fully than you used the previous hour. Taking each hour as a separate unit of your life, strive to use each of these units of life with greater and greater quality. Force yourself to find a way to make each succeeding hour more profitable for your work than the last, and at the same time find a way to settle all your debt with the machine and with nature up to the present moment. To live the remainder of your life rehearsing your for death, hour by hour, is not a morbid fascination with death, but a method of living life more deeply.
No one can extract more from every moment of life than a terminal patient who knows more or less when he can expect to die. If we have thought deeply on the possible ways in which we can spend our last days, we change our lives radically. If we know with certainty that we will soon die, we will bend every ounce of will available to us to the extraction from every hour remaining to us of every possible drop of quality. This is the real meaning of the ancient scene saying, the last days are at hand. We all face judgment not from others, but our own last minute final appraisal of our lives. We must not fail to pass this test. And I pass. Do we want to take a break and discuss, or should we continue reading?
Is it long or how much more we can keep doing? Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
we can keep going. Every single moment is an eternal part of creation. In each moment, it is possible to extract a finer substance which we call essence of life. On a clean sheet of paper, draw a picture which represents for you the substance air. Now, draw a picture of the substance food. Now, a picture of the substance impressions. Finally, draw a picture of the substance of a moment. Because these can all be pictured as substances, it should give you the hint that there really are substances, that even moments of time are a form of matter. If we are successful in extracting the final substances from these more gross material substances familiar to everybody in general, then we must sooner or later pay something for them. This is called the law of equilibrium. We must eventually pay for what we extract of life. Pass.
But to pay in the moment for our use of the moment is what we call real doing. In the beginning, we can only imagine what it is to do with the thinking, feeling, or moving apparatus. But eventually, with work experience, we find that the real doing is paying in the moment, leaving nothing for the future. It is not too late even now, although much of your life has been wasted in sleep. From today, you can begin to prepare for death and at the same time increase the quality of your life with the machine. But take this warning, do not wait too long. Maybe this one last hour is in fact all that remains to you. The You may be able to glibly repeat this verbatim, but unless actually practiced, this cannot mean anything. The awakened machine, functioning higher mental and emotional apparatus, and radiation of one's presence are the only real tools of communication. Pass.
At the end of each hour, having completed your appraisal of the work profit of the previous hour, imagine waking up suddenly in a completely new world in which you recognize the fact that you are a total stranger, even though everything looks vaguely familiar to you. Establishing a whole new workings relationship with this new world demonstrates clearly that your apparent automatic continuation in the flow of life is not really the same at all from hour to hour. I pass.
I have a question for the group. Uh, it's funny that we are reading this chapter, but I'm gonna have to leave little bit early today. So does anyone else have the PDF that they can share on screen after I leave?
Maybe I can share it. Let me try.
Okay. Do you wanna give it a try right now?
Yeah, let me see. Let me pull
Thank
it
you.
up.
Let's see if I can have given you
Okay.
permission to share screen.
Hold on.
Did you just make me the host?
I did, David. So
Well,
that
you're
when I
okay.
leave, the meeting will still be on.
Yeah, but Rajesh, you now have the ability to share.
Let me try. Okay.
And by the way, it's page number 181.
181. Okay.
Well, no.
Okay.
Just try and share anything and see if it works.
I'll click more. Yes, I was share on the Zoom. Never done this before on the Zoom.
There is a green arrow in middle, right? That's a share.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hover.
Screen or the screen, right? Screen.
Yeah, we can see
see
something.
something. Okay. Can you see the page now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
I don't have mouse. It's a iPad. I can connect to the mouse, but let's go through here. Page 181. All right. This one.
It's actually the next page. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
All right, guys, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. I think we stop at the end of each hour. That para was done. Then we can go from here. I'll read out. At the end of each hour, having completed your appraisal of the work profit of the previous hour, imagine waking up suddenly in a completely new world in which you recognize the fact that you are a total stranger, even though everything looks vaguely familiar to you. Establishing a whole new working relationship with this new world demonstrates clearly that your apparent automatic continuation in the flow of life is not really the same at same at all from hour to hour. You could see yourself as a ghost destined to wander from world to world as an uninvited guest. From this vantage point of what value is anything accomplished in the course of ordinary life? Consider the results of all your strivings of the past. What are they worth now? And I pass.
We and the work are in many ways dead to the world, and at the same time more alive than anything in it. Work,
Bhavin joined from two.
no, I'm only connected to this one.
Somebody is having.
Shahid, close your mic.
I can hear.
I think you might have to close, mute or something. Rajesh? Sorry, where was I? We in the work are in many ways dead to the world, and at the same time more alive than anything in it. Work, a small, strange difference in our lives, and yet, to some of us, life is without this little difference. It should be easy to see that life is futile in the ordinary sense. Every accomplishment, no matter what, how great in the scale of planetary life, sooner or later is lost in the big sense. Time grinds every grain to dust. Even the biggest names in history, sooner or later, will be forgotten. To understand the real possibilities of life on Earth, we must discover what can be accomplished in this world, which would be of use beyond this world. And I pass.
Study the lives of those who managed to amass great wealth, armies, influence, and power over others. What use to them now that they are dead are their great accomplishments? Even during life, they were empty dreams. Learn to use each hour to the fullest possible profit. Write a detailed plan for your last hour of life. And I pass.
By this little, you will be forced to sink your roots of meditation deeply into the whole question of the real value of life as a prisoner in the human biological machine, just to understand how to die. Not just anyone is able to really die. The human biological machine can be converted to one form of fertilizer or another for the use of organic life on the planet. But because the creation is eternal, we cannot really die just because the biological machine dies. To die forever in this world is an honor which must be paid for by conscious labor and intentional suffering through the process of conscious eternal return will pass.
What I realized is that if we mute Rajesh's computer sound, then you could hear without the echo. I don't know if that's the issue that others are having.
He's muted right now.
Yeah, I will mute her.
Rajesh, you are sharing device audio. Just share device audio. Just disable that.
Oh, well,
While sharing, I could see that that was enabled.
Yeah,
It's working now.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Can't do this.
No,
Wait.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at the end anyway. We just, I mean, it's a worthy chapter to read, and I'd like to point. Most of you have your book anyway, right? Yeah. So for homework, there's two things that I would like us to concentrate on. One is on page 180. In the middle, it says, you don't need to share anything, but it just in the middle, it says, now return to the stream of organic life and ask and set yourself the aim during the next hour, if you live that long, to extract just a little more quality from life than you had during the previous hour. So I would like you to write down on a piece of paper, if you have paper and pens, paper, pencil, lipstick, anything. What does it mean to extract more quality from life? Okay? The second question, which is on page 182, also in the middle, if we are successful in extracting the finer substances from these more gross material substances familiar to everybody in general, then we must sooner or later pay something for them. So literally write that down. What does it mean? And what might be an example of how do you pay for something? Don't hold it in your mind, in your great intelligence and fantastic ability to remember everything that ever happened. Write it down as it'll haunt you if you write it down and leave it on your desk. We're out of time, but I just want to ask real quickly, what would be an example of how to pay for something?
Say it one more time, David.
Say it again. Yeah.
What would be an example of how to pay for something?
How to pay? I think anything you do with your heart,
Okay.
with
So
with real emotion, with not getting something back in return or anything. Like basically just giving, you know.
giving. So that's one answer. Like when I go to the store, if I go and I get a loaf of bread and I don't steal it, like I'm not going to try to rip off the store. I usually pay for it, right? I give them a few dollars. So I give them something for getting this bread. So any other examples of how one might pay?
Attention.
Okay, whatever that means.
So for anything, right? Say I see something which is like from the material world, organic world, anything. I I'm getting some impulses incoming, and that I can use it for my rising in conscious by processing that. And for that, I have to pay attention to those incoming impulses in whatever way. Like generally, in the sense, like if say we have for last hour thing, right? Whatever I have done in one last hour to take the notes also, I have to pay attention to those particular events that's happening around me.
It's a
In that,
common phrase, right, Swati, to use pay attention.
yeah,
I mean, isn't that what we say to our kids all the time when they're pay attention, or
yeah.
to our husbands or to our wives? Pay attention.
That was the first thing that struck me, the kids, when she said pay attention. But at the same time, I kind of related to it because when my daughter brings a drawing to me, and instead of looking at a computer, but when I pay attention to her, in totality, basically. And
Yeah,
that brings out a different emotion because then she starts sharing more of that drawing to me. And then I get to understand her more. So that's how
right.
I saw it. Yeah.
You actually place your attention on it.
Mm.
The effort of placing your attention is like you're like polishing it. One of these days we'll talk about selling stuff, like when you sell art or you sell jewelry or you sell perfumes. It's an event of guiding someone's attention to what's right in front of them. Except for Nishant, he's in a dark car. Are you sitting at a desk, everybody else, or right? Maybe a desk, Swati, you know. Can you name something right now that's on that desk? Anything, an immaterial, name one thing.
Monitors.
There's a monitor. Okay. She has more than one. Michelle,
I have a little bronze sculpture of a Buddha.
brown sculpture of a Buddha. Bernie, you have anything on your desk? He's muted. You- You're, you're muted.
Sorry, I'm looking at the machine I use for taking my blood pressure.
Okay, a machine of some sort. And Rajesh, do you have anything in front of you?
I have a lot of things.
Lots of things. That's no answer.
2 monitors,
One thing.
monitors, laptop,
Okay,
laptop.
easy answer.
Yeah.
Alka's busy getting ready to go to work, so she's, scrubbing and rushing and all this stuff. But all I'm saying is take that object that you just named. You don't need to do it right now.
That
Later.
would be my suitcase. Sorry, I'm packing for travel.
She's packing. Here's her suitcase. And if you place your attention on it, something happens. Okay. Now, so this is the 24th chapter of this book, which used to be called the Big 24. It's the last chapter of Practical Work on Self. But we're not going to quite let it go yet because I want to come back to those two questions. How do you add, what does it mean to add more quality? And how might someone pray? Oops, excuse me.
Pay.
Did I say pray?
Yes, said
Oh,
pray.
I meant play, or rather
Pay.
pay. Is that it? Did I get it right this time?
Is it
You're
gratitude?
better.
David, is
Not
it
easy.
gratitude?
And then I'll tell you a story about when I was in church, when I was going to Catholic school. I was in church where my parents were having a teacher-parent meeting with the nuns, and I was in church by myself with my sister, and something happened. Okay?
All right.
All that's assuming that we're going to be here next week, right?
Yeah, so many hours.
Look, we already lost Nikhil. What? Oh my God. He might not even know to come back. Nishant, go do your doctoring, buddy.
Yeah, every hour counts, right?
And it does. And boy, oh boy, is that a wonderful thing. So, well, thank you everybody for coming, for seeing everything and being there and being part of this beautiful river that I seem to swim in with you. So I wish you a good evening,
Thank
and
you,
we
Dan.
look forward to seeing you in the
Thank
future.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
all.
much,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye
Maybe
bye.